Don't let the worst moments, the fights, the arguments, the disagreements, the bad times, right, define the entire story of your family. God never forsake them. God never left them hopeless. No matter what it was that they did that seemed so dysfunctional, no matter what it did they did that seemed so not normal, God was always with them. And so, to prove that, what's really cool is you look at the genealogy of Jesus Christ, and then you track it back and track it back all the way. Pastor Wyman did this a few weeks ago, and you go all the way back, and guess where it leads? It leads all the way back to Adam and Eve, and it just blows my mind, honestly, to think of the fact that God can take such a not normal, dysfunctional family and do something so great. Despite our mistakes, God never leaves our families hopeless. Every family, including the imperfect, not so typical, uh, they can all be used by God. Your family can be used by God. Stop focusing on what's wrong with your family and focus on how you can begin to encourage your family to be used by God. Now, I know everybody's situation is different, and I know all of us are in kind of different families, and our dynamics are different. Some of those may not be so good, and some may be better than others. But ask yourself a few questions. What sometimes feels imperfect about my family? What is it about my family that just kind of irks my nerves? What do I see that I wish was different? And then ask yourself this question: how has God been good to my family? I, I'm afraid sometimes we focus so much on the negative that we lose sight of the positive. Now, I'm not trying to tell you to just have a feel good moment all the time, but if Cain and Abel and Adam and Eve, if the whole focus was on their sin and not what God was able to do many, many years down the road through their family, then I don't think it would have much of an impact. How does God need your family? What is God calling your family to do? And how might God be able to use your family for good? You know, when our families leave us feeling hurt, frustrated, or even hopeless, it can be hard to see how any good can come from them, right? But I believe that God can do big things through your family. How do you think God may be able to turn your atypical, your not so normal, or your dysfunctional family into a story about His goodness and His grace? How do you think God might want to use you for good in your family story? Your job is not to fix your family. It's out of your control. You can't do that. But your job is to simply be open to whatever God wants to do in and through your life and allow Him to change your family, even though your role may be small. God can use your atypical family just as He used Adam and Eve. He can use your family to do something amazing. And so, to tie all this in, to try to make this as quick as possible, I hope that when you look at your family, you don't see all the negative, but instead you see the positive, and you encourage one another that God can use you if you're willing to submit to Him and His will.